Hi there. Welcome back to A Face for Radio. Summer might be coming to an end, but that does not mean that we're over SPF and sunblock. Rida is here this week to tell us a little bit about what she's learned through her research and use of various sunblocks, chemical, mineral, you name it, she's tried it, and she's got knowledge to share about it. So let's dive right in. We will, maybe I'll have to ask you about that next episode.
Okay.
Which one are you using?
The Drunk Elephant C Firma Day Serum.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that because I tried it in a Sephora once and the smell, I just couldn't get over it.
Okay, the smell is really bad, and like after I read on the reviews that people were describing it as hot dog water, I can't unsmell it. But at the same time, it's fine because I've seen like that physical like difference. I'm like, it's fine. The smell is worth it.
So you can tolerate it.
Yeah.
See, I put it on in Sephora and I immediately went and found like a cleansing balm and like washed my hands and my face because I just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, that's like the one thing. But then if you look at any other like really good vitamin C serum, like all the reviews are talking about the smell, and I think it's just that ascorbic acid is just smelly.
Oh.
Not supposed to smell like oranges like we want.
But see, some of them I don't find as bad. Like I tried Olheinrichsen. That one I thought was okay. You didn't like that?
No, because I didn't like it based on like just like the research I did on it, and I was like, this is not even a good one. Like, so I
Oh,
had like, a mini
interesting.
sample, and I tried it on for like a day, and I was like, I don't even think this is real, and then I stopped using it.
Interesting, because I use a lot of their other products, but the serum, it just made me break out. So then I just returned it.
It's not even that. Yeah, and it's like because of the fragrance. Like the fragrance might irritate your skin.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Anyway.
Okay, well, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. So I always start out asking people what their skin type and tone is, like how they would describe it.
Okay. I would describe my skin tone as medium light with a yellow undertone. Okay. And skin type normal.
Oh,
But
lucky.
do break out though. But like that whole vitamin C stuff I was talking about, like that has gotten under wraps.
That's very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've been breaking out more in the last couple months. Um, and I thought I couldn't pinpoint it, but I think now it's because in quarantine I've been lazy about my routine, and so some days I don't do my full skincare in the mornings, and I think that's why.
I think in quarantine I've gotten better about my skincare routine. Just because
Really?
no excuse. So I'm like
Yeah.
I started incorporating retinol into my night and like vitamin C and sunscreen every day. And I think that's made all the difference in like
Yeah, those are big changes.
mm-hmm.
So do you remember your first ever beauty product or beauty routine?
Yes. Okay, so this was probably in like elementary school. I went to CVS and I got a Wet and Wild hot pink lipstick.
Oh my God. I remember those. I used to go with my grandma and always try and get her to get me one.
Yeah. I was happy my mom let me get one. I don't know why I went for hot pink though.
I feel like in those days it was all about the colors.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I remember my early days of having like glitter eyeshadow, like green and blue and purple, which I would never touch now.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's so funny. And then, okay, so you talked a little bit about your current routine, your vitamin C, retinol, and sunscreen. How did you go from Wet and Wild hot pink lipstick to like your current skincare? What's been your
Um,
process?
so there was like a long gap between the Wet and Wild and what I do today because all through high school even like I didn't even like really like take care of my skin, but my skin was fine, right? So I didn't really think there was a need to do anything. So I would like wash my face with the Neutrogena, like like that amber colored face wash, the fragrance you're going. I would just wash it. I wouldn't even moisturize my skin, and I would just go to school and like that would be it. And then in college, I started breaking out, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to do. So I had like a really long struggle with acne since like for like the last 5 years, and I've been on like tretinoin. I've even been on Accutane, and like I don't know if you know much about Accutane if you've ever been on it, but like it's supposed to be like a 6 month course, and like it's supposed to be permanent, and like unfortunately like there is like some small amount of people that like relapse after using Accutane, and it has nasty side effects, so it's not even like a pleasant thing to be on. And unfortunately after I was done, after a few months, I just started breaking out the same again. So I was like bummed out. But
Wow. Yeah, that's a very serious. I know some people who've taken it, and it's a very serious drug that, it can be really good for your skin, but it also does have
I had
bad
to
side
go to the
effects.
hospital once a month to get blood drawn just to confirm that I wasn't pregnant. Because that's how intense it is. And like my sister's friends have had like actual like physical problems like occur in their back and like things like that from it. So I don't know. But yeah, and then after Accutane, I was just like complaining to my mom one day and she was like, why don't you just like ease off like everything for a while? And she was like, stop using soap, stop using moisturizer, just use water and like don't wear makeup. And this is in quarantine, by the way. So I was like, okay, I don't have to go anywhere, like this is fine. And I actually started noticing that my skin was improving, but it was still like breakouts here and there. And so that's when I started really looking into like retinol and like vitamin C, and like sunscreen was something I always like wore since college just because of all the benefits it has anyway. So that's where I am today.
Yeah, that's so interesting. You even mentioned that you in high school like only just washed your face and didn't moisturize. And now that I think about it, moisturizer was definitely something I did starting in college. And I just thought like, I had my Neutrogena face wash and like the little spot treatment.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I never moisturized my face. And, in my head, I've been moisturizing my whole life, but it actually hasn't been that long.
Hmm.
So that's
I
so
think I was
funny.
just taking like our skin for granted then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like once you realize, like I growing up, my mom was always very paranoid about her eyes.
Mhm.
And she'd be like, oh, like this is my new eye cream. Like, do I look any different? And we would be like, yeah, since this morning, like big difference. Um, but it definitely by college, I was like, okay, I need to get a head start because I don't want to, get involved too late.
Yeah. Yeah. That was kind
Um,
of what I was thinking with the retinol and like the sunscreen because they're all kind of anti-aging products.
yeah. Well, I will say, all the like Korean beauty influencers I follow, they all will be like, here's my mom who's 75, 80, who looks my age. And she's just like, I just wear sunscreen. Like, that's my
Hmm.
thing. And so I'm like, okay, that's the impetus I needed.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about sunscreen in your routine.
Okay.
So what are you currently using?
So right now I am using Supergoop. Um, they have this line of sunscreen products that are 100% mineral based. So that means that they're only formulated with like, well, like the active ingredients are only titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. And so, like, I don't know if, like in other sunscreen products, like you might read other chemicals like avobenzone or like oxybenzone, things like that. I try to avoid those. So that's why I like Supergoop because they have like a whole line of products, even like makeup products that have sunscreen in them, but they're mineral.
So you use the Supergoop mineral one.
Hmm.
Okay. I use the unseen one, which I know is not as clean, but
Yeah.
I just really like that it's clear.
Yeah, that's like the one benefit of like the chemical sunscreens is that it goes on clear, whereas like the other ones go on kind of with like that whitish tint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you discover this particular product?
So this was actually okay in quarantine. So many things happened. Um,
Quarantine has been really productive for you.
yeah, it has been. So I'm like, so I have a desk and it's by the window actually, and so I sit by the window and all the sun comes in. And one day I was like, well, UV rays can like travel through windows. It's like not like I'm protected. And I was like thinking like I'm not putting on moisturizer or washing my face. Like there's virtually nothing on my face right now, but like I should at least have sunscreen. But I didn't want to like. I have like a Lancome like foundation that has sunscreen in it, but it's like the chemical one on top of that. So I was like, I don't want to be like putting on foundation just to sit at home every day. So I was like trying to find a powder sunscreen. I didn't even know if that was a thing. I just Googled it and like turns out there are like quite a few companies that make like a setting powder like with sunscreen in it. And I just came across Supergoop just like that. I didn't really know that it was a company before that. And then I went on their website. They had all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like they're becoming more popular now,
Yeah.
especially as people are becoming more aware of sunscreen
Yeah.
needs.
For sure.
So, when you found all these products, why did this stay? So, are you using like a powder? Is it a powder, the one you're using?
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, if you have it.
I literally just have it all sitting here.
Oh, perfect.
This is the one.
Oh, okay. So it goes on like it's like a brush.
Yeah, like literally open it up and it's like
Oh, okay. So I've seen something like this. A lot of like K beauty has this kind of thing.
yeah, and they're like other like companies that like makes similar products just like this. I don't know when it's gonna end though. It looks like there's like a small amount, but I've been using it for 2 months now.
And you use it every day.
Hmm.
And do you apply it once a day or multiple times?
So just because I'm home, I just like put it on in the morning before I sit by the window. It's not the only thing I put on because I went on their website and I got other things too. So they even have like this primer and like the CC cream. So I've just been like going with it every day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love their products.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will say the sunscreen I have, it lasts me a long time. I use it every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and I put like the full dime size
Yeah, yeah.
amount.
That's good.
And it lasts me like 6 months, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, they have a good amount of product, I think, in
Mhm.
there. But so why did this one stand out compared to your others, like similar products you saw?
Um, so after I got the setting powder, I think I was looking. So once I realized that like the Lancome foundation I had was made with chemical sunscreen, I was trying to find a foundation that had the mineral sunscreen instead. And I went on Sephora and I literally browsed through like all their foundation that had SPF in it. And I realized actually that a lot of the SPF in like foundations and makeup products is the chemical ones that I'm trying to avoid now. So, but Supergoop did have like that whole line of mineral base. So it was just easy to like go on their website and just filter in mineral and then just take whatever I wanted.
Okay, so from Sephora, you were like you narrowed it down to Supergoop, and then you went to them, and you ended up buying directly from Supergoop.
Yeah, because they had a sale going on.
Ah, there
Mhm.
you go. Because I'm always curious. I know I like the first thing I do is I go to Sephora's website, and if it's not there, I feel like I always think about it a little bit longer because it's just
Yeah.
so much easier for me.
Yeah, it's on Sephora, but my sister was the one who told me that, oh my God, like Supergoop's having a sale. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Once you start seeing the ads or like someone tells you, then you're always on the lookout for this.
Yeah, yeah.
So you talk a little bit about this having mineral sunscreen versus chemical. So why did you make that switch? Like what are the reasons?
It was actually when I was like doing that seminar like a few years ago when I was like in the beginning of grad school. I was just as a slide, I just wanted to add in like pros and cons of both. And when I started reading the pros and cons of both, I was like, why are chemical sunscreens even approved by the FDA right now? Because they're really nasty. Like, yeah, they go on like clear and like they go on smoothly and like all that stuff. Like, but they like actually penetrate into your skin. Whereas the mineral sunscreens, they like stay on top of your skin and they're more or less like a UV mirror, if you will. Like the UV comes, it bounces off. Whereas the chemical ones, they actually like go into your skin and then the UV can come inside and they absorb it. They absorb the UV. And then once they're absorbed, they become excited. And then that goes on and does DNA damage, which goes on and leads to like a lot of other like worse problems like cancer or like just wrinkles even. So
So I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of sunscreen if it's going into your skin anyway.
yeah, I mean, well, no, because I don't know if I want to get into this, but like melanin, let's say, right? It's almost like a biological sunscreen where
Hmm.
like it's like already in your skin and it does the same thing. It absorbs the UV, but it doesn't do the thing where it like becomes excited and then like kind of creates like this chain reaction, which ends up with your DNA getting damaged.
Okay, so I guess like a chemical sunscreen it's something, but mineral is definitely a stronger protectant.
Yeah,
Would
there's
that be
like
fair?
far less cons for mineral sunscreens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So most of the cons for mineral sunscreens are actually just like aesthetic things, like oh the white tint, things like that.
okay, so just vain things.
Yeah.
Um, so would you not, so you're still using some products though that do have chemical sunscreen, or you're gonna try and get away
I
from
just
those?
stopped using them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just like weird. Like now that I know, I'm like, why would I do it now that I know?
So even like your foundation, you're gonna get rid of that.
Yeah. Like I haven't touched it since I like got the Supergoop CC cream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll use it like if I absolutely need to. Like let's say I'm going to like a party and like it just matches my skin better. I'll do it one day. But like I'm like trying to avoid it like on the daily.
Okay, wow. And so when you're researching these different types of, so how long ago were you doing this that you started making these changes?
Okay, so the biggest changes happened recently because I did the seminar 3 years ago
Hmm.
and I remembered it then. And then I guess over time I just forgot about it. because I was still using like the same foundation, like the same moisturizers and everything. But it was recently, like I said, when I like resurfaced those slides to like send that series of Snapchats out to my friends,
Yeah.
that I was like, wait a second, like why am I using this? Like I know this in my head, like stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, so you touched on melanin in your skin is kind of a protectant against sun.
Hmm.
I remember this. My uncle, who's an oncologist, always says like melanin is protection, but that's not. He never said that as like a blanket, like oh you don't need sunblock. He just said like you are less likely to burn.
Yeah.
But did did you ever read something about like you still do need sunscreen as a person with some color in your skin, any color in your skin?
Yeah, I saw like a nice chart. I don't know who published it, but it was basically like skin tones ranging from super pale to super dark, and they were basically showing that like even though you have lower risk of skin cancer or like burning, when you're like when even if you have the darkest skin tone, like the risk for developing skin cancer is never zero. And then there was like another figure that like paired with it that kind of talked about like demographics of people and like just showing that like basically like no matter who you are or where you are in the world, like you're not like immune to like getting this type of like sun damage.
Yeah,
It could
and
be
I
lower,
think
but not it's not zero.
right, and I think a lot of people think of like the extreme that it's like oh cancer or sunburn, right, are the two things people think about. But there are a lot of different types of sun damage,
Yeah.
and I do think especially in the United States, if you go to like a dermatological spa or anyone who's going to treat those kinds of conditions, they are harder to treat if you do have, you know, like darker skin tones as you kind of go down the scale, not like even the darkest, but even, I would say I'm medium. And
Yeah.
I know that actually I learned this from Rima is that a lot of times with hair removal or laser treatments or different things like this,
Yeah.
it's very different on the colored skin tones. And
Mhm.
there may not be as much research or equipment to do that properly.
Yeah.
So the aftercare also is not as available. And so you need to be preventative. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm being I'm being validated.
Yeah.
So did you ever come across like what does SPF really mean?
Yeah. So SPF stands for sun protection factor. And it's actually interesting, like in like a very easy way to think about it, if you just take whatever SPF number it is and just divide, like inverse it, so 1 over whatever, that's more or less the percentage of sunscreen like or like UV rays that are like getting to your skin. So
Oh.
if you have no sunscreen, 100% of the UV is getting to your skin, whereas like 30 SPF is like 1/30, whatever that is, 3%, 5%, I don't know. Um, so like that amount is like coming into your skin.
Okay. Okay, so I guess the rationale between if you have a darker skin tone, you can use a lower SPF is that you just maybe don't need as much.
Yeah. I think the base that people recommend is that everybody wear like SPF 30. And then they were also saying something about like actually there's like a thing going on right now with the FDA where like they're trying to get companies that market their products as above SPF 50 to remove that labeling because it's kind of misleading because they're arguing that like after SPF 50 it kind of levels off the protection.
Oh,
So somebody
interesting.
might be like, oh, we have SPF 80, and someone might be like, oh, the best protection, but really it's the same as SPF 50.
And then typically I've seen sunblocks get more expensive when they are higher SPF.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Interesting.
Mm.
I so I don't have a lot of I'll be honest, I have a lot of chemical sunscreens. I also didn't know a lot of this before today, so I'm maybe gonna change my habits. But like one I use on my body is Sun Bum, which I've heard has some bad ingredients recently. I read a couple articles about that.
Yeah,
I have personally found it so effective. It does go on white on your body. I use the 70 SPF one, and it's like the first sunblock I've used on my body that actually prevents me from getting tanner,
yeah.
which I was shocked by
Maybe
because
because it was
I've
like the
never had
highest
that experience.
PF, right?
Yeah, 70. So
Yeah, yeah,
so that's why I was surprised that it was getting a lot of bad press because I was like, wow, this is so effective. It must be good. But
sun bum. Do you know which product it was exactly? Like,
it is, I have it downstairs. I'll have to go look for it. But it's basically like just like the body sunblock. It's like a tannish bottle. So they have their bottles, their marketing is good. It looks like a coconut.
Yeah.
and then each bottle is like a different color. So the lower the SPF, the darker the color of the bottle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, and so that one they have like it's like a very like palish woodish color. Um, they also have like a zinc oxide for the face. It's like pure zinc oxide. So that's what my mom uses, and she just like slathers it on. But she doesn't care about having a white cast, especially at home.
Yeah.
She'll just like have a thick layer of that. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know. So I never really realized that SPF you would just divide like one over the number and get a percentage. That's interesting. That actually, to me, that incentivizes me to use the highest number or like 50 because that's like the most effective.
Yeah.
Um, Even though I could probably get away with less, but I just feel like, for me, it's not about the burn or anything. It's honestly more about like anti-aging.
Yeah. Same. Same. I'm not worried. I've never burned before in my life, so
Okay, I have a couple times.
it's good.
But one time it was my own fault because I did not wear sunscreen because I love to get tan. I know I'm like very unusual in that, and for a brown person,
Yeah.
but I love to get tan, and I was on a trip back from work, and I stopped at a beach, and I was like, I have one day, I'm just gonna wear no sunblock, and my entire body just completely burnt.
Oh, that
So
sounds really.
yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way.
Was it
So
a really bad sunburn?
I don't. I don't think so. So, I mean, it was painful for like a day, and I was sitting on an airplane, so that was really painful to sit for, basically 20 hours,
Yeah.
and just try and put aloe like under my shirt. Um, but after that, it peeled pretty quickly within a week, and that was very jarring because when I burn, it turns like a very dark brown. It's not pink or red.
Is this
So it was pink or red the first 12 hours, and then it got really dark, and then it was like peeling in these giant strips like across my chest and my arms, and the underneath skin was like very very light, so I didn't, it was very scarring to see that, and I was just surprised because I did not know what that was.
Yeah.
um but then I was fine, so I guess I got very lucky, but I did learn my lesson. When you feel your skin coming off like paper, you just never want to experience it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I read like this one thing about skin cancer and like sunburns from the American Cancer Society, and they were actually talking about if you get more than 5 sunburns in your adolescence, it doubles your risk of developing melanoma like later on in life. But then I read this scarier statistic that said that if you get one really bad, like this is why I asked if it was really bad, like if you get one really bad, like blistering sunburn, like that five, I don't know, like the 5 strikes you're out thing, like goes out the window, and like one really bad sunburn just doubles your chances for later on in life. And
Wow.
wow.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I didn't have that because I didn't have any blistering or anything.
Yeah,
It
that's
was,
good. That's good.
yeah,
But
I'm just gonna hope.
we'll get sunburns.
Yeah, I think that's a good incentive though. That's a really good statistic to know because I
Yeah.
definitely am gonna be more careful now. So, in terms of efficacy, are mineral sunblocks like better at protecting you from the sun in the sense of like, are they just generally better or are they just healthier for you?
Um, I think one of the reasons why the industry tried to push for chemical sunscreens is because mineral sunblocks aren't the best like possibility for you, right? Like in terms of health, like they're definitely like better, but in terms of like how much they can absorb, the chemical sunscreens definitely absorb more UV. Um, but the one thing about UV, like the chemical sunscreens, is that they don't cover the whole range of UV light. So like UV light is like a range from like here to here, and like let's say the chemical sunscreens will only cover from here to here, so then they have to add like another ingredient that will cover from here to here to kind of get the whole thing. So you also have like 2 or 3 different ingredients, like active ingredients, all really high absorbing but also really bad for you. Whereas with the mineral ones, like they kind of absorb less, or like they don't absorb at all, they block less, and then but they cover the whole thing. So,
Ah, interesting. So, when you say they block, are they mirror they do
mirror
less like
basic. Oh, like they don't absorb the UV light, they kind of reflect it more.
but
So
they cover the whole spectrum.
yeah, they cover the whole spectrum.
But do they need like do you need to apply more of it or more frequently or anything like that?
The chemical sunscreens you have to apply more frequently. I think it's every like 2ish hours you're out in the sun. You should reapply because basically like the way like the actual compound looks is that once it's like hit with UV light an X amount of times, it kind of becomes inactive. So like if you wear it in the morning and then you go out in the sun for 6 hours, you have protection for 2 or 3 hours maybe, and then the rest of the time you're just exposed because you're like those molecules are essentially dead. I don't know how to say it. Like
Okay, that makes sense. If you think about it as like absorbing the sun's light, it literally is like frying itself to protect you, and eventually it's just
yeah,
burnt.
yeah. Whereas the mineral ones, like they can like forever just keep like bouncing off UV rays, but it's only as good as like how dense it is on your skin. So like let's say that you applied it and like it's like a powder, right? And like let's say it's only here, here, and here, like
Hmm.
UV can still go here. So you're gonna want to
Oh.
apply more or like a higher SPF because then you get the more concentration of it. I don't know.
But then is it also like one of the downsides, right, is like it has the white cast. So if you rub it in a lot, is that less effective then?
Um, have you tried rubbing in mineral sunscreen? I feel like it never goes away like that white tint.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then, but I feel like that is like I in the past, like I tried the Supergoop one in the store, and I was like, oh, this is just too white. I'm never gonna wear this. Like it looks so
Yeah.
funny on me. Again, really vain, and this was also like a year ago when I had somewhere to be, so maybe I have a different perspective now. But I remember just like thinking like, okay, well, I'll use less. Or I used the CeraVe AM moisturizer that has a little bit of SPF, but again, it has that white cast. And when it did that, I was like, oh, I'll put on less. But then I feel like that's also not good if I'm going to use less product, right? Because
Yeah.
SPF, I've heard you have to have like a lot of the product in order to actually get that level of SPF.
Yeah. Like they were almost like the one I was like the suggestion I read was that they basically want you to use like a whole ounce for your whole body. But like most bottles are only like 3 ounces. So they basically want you to use a third of the whole bottle on your body. And like that's like I'm sure even like I'm like not putting on as much as I should, but like
Yeah.
something is better than nothing.
I think, yeah, regardless, right? Something is better than
Well,
nothing.
actually, that's also why I kind of like the CC cream from like Supergroup and like whatever other companies might have like a mineral CC cream or BB cream is because it has like the pigment in it, right?
Hmm.
So the white kind of gets like there's no more white. It's like a brownish color now.
Ah, okay. So I've seen a lot of these, like, I think it's a new thing in Korea. And actually, I've heard this is a new thing in Korea. They're trying to bring to American beauty companies is like, it's a compact and it's got a sponge in it, and that's got the SPF and your foundation like soaked in, and then you like pat it on. And I've seen like lots of variations of this. So I wonder if that's like the future because that will allow you to have this mineral sunblock without having that tint because you'll just have
Yeah.
your own tint.
Yeah, yeah. I've never seen that product before.
I don't think it's widely available here. I think American companies that are doing it are mainly selling it in Asian markets, and then I know it's a popular thing in like Korea, or
Oh,
it is a Korean origin product. So
yeah. So smart.
I know that's where we get all our ideas these
I
days.
know, so smart.
So. um, yeah, that's interesting. I do think my whole philosophy is like with SPF, at least something is better than nothing, and then over time, like you improve
Yeah.
what you're using.
And also
Um,
like cuz you and I like we don't really have to worry about the sunburn aspect of it. So it's more like just we don't want to look like wrinkly when we're older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the first episodes I did, my friend said to me, Jennifer Garner in an interview said, nothing looks better in your 40s like skincare or sunscreen in your 20s.
Mhm.
And that really stuck with me. And ever since, I have not missed a day of putting on sunscreen.
I read like this one thing about how your collagen um, reduces and like elasticity and like just how well connected it is. Once you hit 26, like it goes down about a percent or two every year. And I'm 27 now, and I was like, I missed a whole year. Like I've lost 2% of my collagen already because I started this a little late.
Yeah. What are you doing to prevent collagen loss?
Um, well, the retinol, the vitamin C, and the sunscreen.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I got very paranoid, and so I started taking collagen supplements
Do you
6
like
months
them?
ago.
Like, are they good?
No, they broke me out, so I stopped.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know if that was it because I also just moved to New York. So people say that moving to New York is stressful for your skin. And I was like, I feel like I'm less stressed now than I was, my old job, for example.
yeah.
Um, but I was just having these like awful breakouts and I think they were exacerbating it. So I just stopped. I did have the Vital Proteins powder that you can add to like coffee or water or whatever,
Yeah.
which is okay. It does kind of smell and taste a little weird to me. But it was that didn't break me out. I just like felt like I didn't really need it, so I wasn't gonna buy it again.
Yeah.
So maybe next year I'll start. That'll be my next project.
My next project
So are
is
you pretty
acid.
sorry?
Oh, nothing. I was just like saying that my next like product to look into is hyaluronic acid.
Oh, okay. I'm excited for you to do that because I got a facial right before quarantine, and the one thing she said to me was like, "You don't need a lot of stuff, but add in a hyaluronic acid because you have dry skin." And
Mm.
because I also have very sensitive skin, I was very hesitant. So I just got CeraVe has a hyaluronic acid serum, which I didn't do a lot of research because after that everything kind of the world just fell apart. So
Yeah.
I forgot about it, but I just knew that CeraVe is going to be very gentle, and I know that it's not going to aggravate my skin. It may not be the best product, but it's a good entry to just see how my skin likes it. So I use their serum. It's more like a cream. You pump it out, and it's like white,
Yeah.
and you just rub it in. So I've been doing that since March, and I haven't changed it, and it's fine. I don't really know if it's doing anything, but it's not
Your skin
hurting.
less dry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess I also do so much moisturizing. I wear like 2 or 3 in the morning and 2 and 3 at night.
Okay.
So I don't know that it's that. She also told me to drink more water because she did this test on my forehead where she went like this and she's like, you're getting um like crepiness, and she said it's not permanent, but it will be if you don't drink more water and you don't hydrate your skin more. And so now I've got my my, my quota for the day. But I'm really excited because I feel like I hear so much about like the ordinary hyaluronic acid serum is like a big one these days. But I don't want now I'm getting to the point where I'm like hesitant because I've had recent breakouts that I don't want to try something without hearing people's reviews and
Do
research.
you like ever look into like reading if the products you're using, like people talk about like their skin purging on them?
Yeah. So I think that might have happened to me with some of the vitamin C serums I tried, but it
Yeah.
was just, I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to stop. Have you had that experience?
When I started with the retinol, yeah, like my skin purged for like a solid month, but I knew like everybody was talking about it, so I was like, I know I'm gonna get past this stage. And like right now, I have zero zits.
That's a long time to commit to that.
Yeah, I'm.
So what,
I'm like hoping that I've committed to this for life though. So one
there
month.
you go. What were the breakouts like from the retinol?
Um, like all types, like small, big, painful, not painful, like just all of them.
Oh,
And they
interesting.
were like all over, like on my cheeks and like my chin. Like, but I
Okay, so
think
there
they're
wasn't
all
like a uniform, like, okay, it's here or it's my forehead or anything.
no. My forehead never breaks out, and then I got like three like nice zits right here.
Hmm. Wow. But you were confident that it was a purge, not like a
Yeah, but
reaction.
also my skin had been breaking out for so long that I was like, whatever, like this is just it now. So I was like,
Yeah.
it's either like it helps or it doesn't help. So I was like willing just to see if it works.
Okay. And then did it kind of taper off or was it like abruptly it stopped purging?
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe it was like not abrupt, but like it was kind of quick. Like maybe in like the time frame of a week or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I need to do something like that because I feel like lately it'll be like one day I'll break out here and then one day on my like eyebrow and then one day on my chin and like today I have a pimple like here a little bit on my neck, which I really don't understand. So it might be time
I
to
feel like it's like
experiment.
half patience and like just consistency.
I for the longest time in my life I didn't understand what it meant to pop a pimple. Like I just like conceptually was like that makes no sense.
Hmm.
And then one day I just happened to be like kind of like touching it and it like popped. And now it's very hard for me to resist that urge.
Yeah, because it's like immediate gratification. It's there.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Yeah. So that's why I buy a lot of pimple patches because if it's on there. I don't even know if it's doing like sometimes it does pull out stuff. I will say infrequently, but more than that, like I can't pick at it if it's covered.
True.
And that's really to me the biggest selling point of those.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I guess I know what I need to try my list of products. So with regard to SPF, are you pretty happy now with your new, so you have that Supergoop CC cream and the mineral powder.
Yeah. And I even bought their primer just because it was on
Oh,
sale.
right.
Yeah.
And do you use all three every day or how do you use them?
So every day, so when I wake up, I like apply my vitamin C, and then depending on if I have plans to go out or like see people, I'll either do the whole thing with the primer, CC cream, and the setting powder. Otherwise, it's just a CC cream.
Okay, so that's your most used one.
Yeah. In the beginning, before I got the CC cream, like I just used the mineral powder, and that was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the CC cream, so what are what's the shade range like? Were you happy with their choices?
They only had 3 choices, and because I like didn't go into Sephora and like actually check it out, I kind of just had to like hope for the best. Like they only had 3 choices, so I was torn between like light and medium. And even though I think my skin is medium, I realized that on the website the light one looked more yellow. So I ended up going with the light because like sometimes if you mismatch the red and the yellow with yourself, like it looks kind of purpley or gray. I didn't want that to happen. So
Yeah.
their primer though, it's like I don't understand the primer. I'm like kind of confused by it because it has the mineral sunscreen, but it doesn't have the whitish tint, if that makes sense. Like it goes on clear. I'm so confused by it. Like honestly, I'm so confused by
Wait,
it.
this is not the glow screen, right?
No. Do you want No, it's not. Do you want to see it?
If you have it
I have
handy.
everything literally
Oh,
just
perfect. Yeah.
okay, look. So it's matte screen. It's supposed to be mineral. So therefore it
Okay.
go on like a little whitish. But when you take it out, like do you see it kind of has like a color on it?
Oh, yeah.
It's fine, like whatever most primers does. But then when you put it in, like the color goes away, and I'm so confused by it.
Oh, so is it blending to your tone, you think?
Maybe it's like exactly my skin tone, but it's like gone.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no white, and there's no coverage either. Like I can still see like my skin underneath. So
Interesting. That's intriguing.
this is like the part that gets me confused.
What is the SPF level in that?
40. So it's
That's good. Yeah.
40 and like all mineral. So like I don't know. I like
Huh.
it, but
Yeah, that's actually sounds like a good product.
yeah, yeah,
And then the mineral powder, is that has like a little bit of shade in it too, or no?
yeah. It does, but like they only sell it with like one color.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's more designed to just be like a powder. It's not like colored coverage.
yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
supposed to be like a setting powder. So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah,
Wow. So I feel like Supergoop is just getting good reviews all around. I haven't heard bad things from anyone.
yeah.
So that's good. So I want to ask, I always ask, what is the best beauty advice you've ever gotten?
Oh wait, this is not really advice, but it was like a quote I read from Pharrell, because you know how he has like really smooth skin. And I
Yeah.
don't know what the quote was, but it was from him, and it was his quote was basically like, "I exfoliate like a madman," and I was like, "Whoa!" So this is like the secret, like you have to exfoliate. So that was the advice that I read, and I was like, I like this.
Did that make you exfoliate more?
Yeah, because I think retinol kind of is like exfoliant. It's a chemical
Oh,
exfoliant.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
interesting.
how I feel about like the physical exfoliating, and I don't know if that's what Pharrell was talking about. Maybe he was talking about peels and stuff because those are exfoliations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is so controversial now to be like, oh, I exfoliate all the time. Um, but I think it depends. Like with the physical ones, right? There's so many different things. I talked to a friend of mine about dermaplaning and how that exfoliates your skin, or like those like Clarisonic brushes.
Yeah.
Or there's obviously like the scrubs with the little beads in it, which they are probably not good for your skin. But for some people, if you have normal skin, for example, like you're not going to get easily irritated, then it probably will be fine
Yeah.
if you do it infrequently. I think the thing is that those products are sold as like daily use products, which are just like that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I knew exactly what product Pharrell uses, but
Yeah, probably like many very expensive
Yeah,
spa
maybe.
treatments.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This was one of my favorites to record because Rida is so knowledgeable about sunblock and SPF. She's done a ton of research even as part of her graduate studies, she's tried lots of products, and she's so willing to share. That was so valuable for me, and I hope it was for you too. One of my biggest takeaways with this was why Rida is so team mineral sunblock. She had a lot of good points about the broad spectrum, the efficacy, what is actually happening to your skin when you use these different products that really made me stop and think. I will confess I'm still using my chemical sunscreen by Supergoop, the Unseen, but I am on the hunt for new products that are mineral just to try and see if there's something that works better or is better for me. At the end of the day, I don't think you have to have all the answers the moment you get information or the moment you start. We're constantly evolving our routines and we're constantly getting better. So in my book, if you're using any kind of sunscreen, take it as a win. As long as you're making good choices by you, for you, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, what we put on our faces is more than just skin deep. I'll see you next time and keep using your sunscreen.